Hi guys, I'm getting a job done that I've been putting off. It's kind of a stinky job. It is straining out my homemade fertilizer. And let me tell you what I do with this. I basically fill a gallon jug with some alfalfa pellets and lots of weeds and maybe a couple banana peels. And I have a little cap here where I've put holes just in case there are gases that need to escape. And I basically let it sit for about a month and a half and rot down, and it becomes this horrible, disgusting sludge. And the flies are very excited about it, and I see something crawling around in there. I don't even know what that is. But it is time now to strain it into this container, which I've started doing. And this is my homemade fertilizer. And it is very stinky and very potent, and it can burn your plants, so it has to be diluted way, way, way down. Maybe even like a tablespoon per gallon is probably as much as I'd go. You don't want to burn the roots or the leaves of the plants you're fertilizing. So this is a very nitrogen-rich mix, and I am straining it out. This is a dedicated strainer. This will not go back into the kitchen. But anything I strain out, I'll just dump into my compost pile, and it'll break down further. But once I strain that out, I'll have a nice jug of strained fertilizer, and I can just take a teaspoon of it here and there and just add it to my water. But that is a very gross job, but it is, other than buying a big bag of alfalfa, it's a pretty cheap fertilizer, and you can even just do it with weeds, like make a weed brew, and just let your weeds and water rot down, strain it out, and you'll have a great free fertilizer. So, although it's stinky and disgusting, I'm hoping that it will really help feed my plants for just a few pennies. Okay, so I've gotten about 1.25 gallons worth of free homemade fertilizer, and I'm going to come up here and hose everything down because, like I said, it's a very, very strong fertilizer. It's been rotting down maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and I don't want any of the grass around my stepping stone to die back. It's just too strong to use full strength. So I'm going to hose everything down and wash off the outside of the container, and I'm going to use this throughout the season very, very sparingly, just about a tablespoon per gallon, just to be safe. As many of you have heard before how much I love my bee friends and how much I love clover, and my back lawn is full of it. I like to have it here for the bunnies and the bees, but I did want to mention, in my fields of clover, there was an incident last week where I walked through it in sandals, and one of my little bee friends got underneath my foot. So I got a very bad sting, and I can't say I blame him or her. It was being stepped on. So that was about 5 days of discomfort. And I just wanted to warn you, make sure you wear closed-toe shoes along with your protective eyewear. These type of accidents can happen in the garden when we're sharing them with little friends that have stingers. Here's one of my little friends now, just visiting all the flowers. Sometimes I can spot about 8 or 10 of them in my little clover patches. And they're doing a wonderful job. You definitely want bees in your garden. I decided to cut back my Veronica. It was very long and leggy, but in this instance I decided to do kind of a Chelsea chop. I may have done a little bit more than a Chelsea chop. I went pretty low to the ground, just to make it flush out again. When you prune it back, it'll send up sort of a bushier growth. And the reason I chose to leave all the debris on the ground was, first of all, the bees are still pollinating the tips of the branches, and secondly, I was thinking that if there's any seed, it might continue to mature and possibly give me more plants in this area. So right now it doesn't look so pretty, but hopefully in another month the plants will bush out again, and I may even have another bloom. But I have left this here to let the pollinators enjoy it, and then once it breaks down, of course it will become food for the plants, and it'll mulch the ground and keep it cool as well. So I'm excited on this beautiful day to do some various projects around the garden. One of them is to take my dried up seed pods here for the daikon radish and see if I can get some seeds out. And that way I can grow some more in the future without even having to buy seed packets. So this is what it looks like when it goes to seed. And I just took it out. It was almost completely dry when I took it out, and then it finished drying up in my polytunnel. I took it out of the rain. But look at those seed pods, guys. So let's go ahead and see what we can harvest out of there for seeds. And by the way, I did eat some of these. They tasted kind of spicy. They were delicious. And, you know, if you have a lot of them and you want to use some for seed and eat some, I would highly recommend it. So as you can see, a daikon radish seed is very big. It's very easy to find. And these pods are full of them, so I'll just go ahead and empty that out. And whenever you harvest any seed, you want to make sure that the plant is fully either brown or beige. You want to make sure it's completely dry. You don't want to harvest any immature seed. And this isn't, I don't think this is quite dry enough. Let's see if the seed looks green in here. Oh no, it's actually all dried up and nice. There are the seeds sitting right in the pod, and this one has about 4. So if you do this to a few pods, you know, you can have another little crop of it in the fall. Or if you choose to wait, you can have it in the spring. That's a nice crispy one that pops right open. But like I said, I tried these seeds and I thought they were really tasty. I feel like they would be a good addition on top of a salad, kind of like a radish. They were green and crunchy, and but they had a bite to them. Here's a really big one. Let me go ahead, and it has a little bit of mold on the bottom, but that one has a lot of seed. Okay, my seeds are adding up, guys. I always like to let some of my plants go to seed and try to save seeds, and you know, if they don't grow the following season, you haven't lost anything but a little bit of space by letting those seeds, letting that plant finish out its life cycle and produce seeds. I'm going to let the others dry a couple more days, but look, guys, once I take away the chaff, you can just blow that right off. I have quite a few seeds here that I can replant in the fall. There we go. And this little shade garden, the mushroom garden, looks inviting, but I've got work to do. And because I had such a yucky chore to do, I treated myself to a pretty chore, and that was to plant this canna lily. And I was so excited to find this at Home Depot. I was specifically looking for the variegated type, this leaf here. I'm more interested in it really for the leaf structure and the beautiful leaves than I am even for the blooms. And I planted that up right here. Now this might be too shady of a spot. It may end up getting moved, but it's not far from my fig tree that does pretty well here. It's actually growing really tall. So I figure if it's enough sun for a fruit tree, hopefully it's enough sun for my canna lily. It gets morning sun and then late afternoon sun. So I'm hoping that's enough, but I'm really excited. I also read on the tag that it's a perennial, and I wasn't expecting that. I do live in Maryland, so we'll see if it's a perennial here. Let me know if you have any experience in zone 6B, 7A growing canna lilies. I'm a little worried. I think it goes down, the hardiness zone goes down to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So I should be okay, but you never know what kind of a winter you'll have. There's no way of predicting those things. But that was something I was excited to get done today after that stinky project of straining my homemade fertilizer. So guys, thanks for tuning in. and I hope you're having fun in your garden. I'll see you next time.